Hi everyone, Melissa Ullman here, the Creative Chatterbox. And today I want to share with you, we're going to create the Simple Page Kit number 1. It is the first one for 2025 from Creative Memories. They have a new beautiful collection called Noteworthy and Noteworthy Days, and all of this is going to go with that collection. It's absolutely just gorgeous. You'll want to make sure that you check it out. So make sure that you like my video if you like what you're seeing. You subscribe or you share. I'd love for you to do those things to follow me so you know when I create next. So let's go ahead and get started with this simple page kit. I am loving these page kits for so many reasons, and we're going to talk about all those reasons this morning. So in the kit, you get one sheet of stickers and you get the cutting guide, like the final layout example here. You get the cutting guide and then where everything is placed here. It tells you your photo sizes and then it tells you your coordinating cardstocks. So what you have is 2 base pieces of paper. So these are our base pieces already pre-designed on the page. And then you have one piece of paper that looks like this on the front, but when you turn it over on the back, it tells you exactly how to cut everything. So we are going to go ahead and do that, but I just wanted to point out for you here that the cardstock colors for this kit are Canary, which is here, and Island Waters. These all go just so beautifully. Island Waters, and then Dark Sea Green, and Cool Gray also works beautifully, as well as black. But I also thought, because this was like kind of purposefully for New Year's type layouts or Happy New Year, that I thought the gold shimmer paper also would look super nice with this, kind of just jazz it up a little bit as well. So those are some options should you want to add any cardstocks. So let's go ahead and start with the simple, and then I will show you ways in which we can dress it up a little bit. So all you're going to need is your trimmer, and then we're going to turn this over. But before we do that, you guys, I want to show you what I do. So I take my simple page kit here and my ruler, and I'm going to measure out each one of these pieces and write it on here, and I'll show you why in a little bit. So each one of these first 2 pieces, number 1 and number 2, are 3/4 of an inch by 12. So 3/4 by 12. Okay. And then this next strip here, can't measure it there. This next strip here is number 3, and that is 4.5 by 12. When we add it to here, we want to make sure we're looking at that piece, how it's added to our base. So that is 4.5 by 12, and then we have numbers 4 and 5. So that's these 2 pieces here, and they're going to be vertical. So we need to measure them so how they're being placed on here. So it's going to be 4 by 6, 4 by 6, 4 by 6. And then these pieces here, this one is number 6, and that's going to be placed here. So that we're going to have the width first. So 4 by 2 is this first one. And then number 7 and number 8 are each 2 inches. And so those are going to be 2 by 4 and 2 by 4. Then I want to look at this base piece here, and it looks like what we would have are the two 12 by 12 bases, and then we would want to measure each one of these sections. So you're going to have 11 inches by 3.5. So I'm going to mark those here. 11 by 3.5 and 11 by 3.5. And then let's go ahead and measure this middle section. So it's going to be 12 inches by 4 inches. So mark those 12 by 4 and 12 by 4. And then these bottom, it's gonna be 11 inches again, and it's going to be 3.5. Okay, so we'll mark that. 11 by 3.5 and 11 by 3.5. Okay, so those are going to be important for the next step that I'm going to be showing you once we complete this simple project here. But I'm going to go ahead and leave this here as my base. And then I'm going to take the piece of paper that needs to be cut. So I'm going to go ahead, and if you have questions about whether or not your line lines up exactly as you see here, you can always use the guide here on your trimmer. So there's one at both the top and the bottom that you can use. So you just want to make sure that that lines up with that line that's on there. So we'll cut. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with this next piece here. Making sure that lines up and cut. So we'll just cut on all the lines here. So very simple to do. We'll rotate this one and cut. So any dotted line areas that you see here, that means we're going to be using our scissor to cut. So we'll do that here in a second. But let's go ahead and get the rest of this cut up. And then you can pretty much eye where it's going to cut on your line there. Set those aside, and then we'll get these two cut here. All right. So now's the fun part, you guys. We're just going to turn these pieces over, and we'll need to make note of those numbers on the back. But then we'll turn this one over, and you see I got just a little strip there. Didn't get on the line exactly. That's okay. We're just gonna come on in here and let's see if we got it there. You can cut just a sliver off of the side there. So there we go. So we've got that cut off, and then we have numbers 1 and 2, and these are gonna go right here below that black piece. So we're just going to look here as to where the placement is for each one of those pieces. And it actually tells you, right? So number 1 and 2. So here we have number 1 with an arrow, number 2 showing you where that's at. And then we'll take these here. I'm just gonna lay them out first. And then this one will go over here. We have this 4 by 12 piece here, and that's gonna go there. Okay. And then we have these pieces here. And again, I have just a sliver on the edge that I'm going to pull my trimmer back out for. I could also use my personal trimmer. That is beautiful at cutting off slivers there. So that's going to go down there below. And then here we have these two pieces that we have left. And remember, I said there's dotted lines. So we are just going to take and cut with our scissors along those dotted lines there. All right, so that will go there, and then we'll do the same thing with this one. All right, and this will go there. I'm going to spread those out a little bit. All right, so once you have laid out all of your pieces, then go ahead and adhere those. So we'll just lift that up. It's a very minimal adhering that you have to do. But I love, right, that it shows us where everything is at and how fast that we are able to complete a 2-page spread. Okay. And I do like to adhere all of my pieces with repositionable adhesive. So then in the event that I would want to move something around, I could definitely do that. Or if I needed to lift something and put something under it or tuck something, I have that ability to do that. So this is number 4. And this one is going to go here. I'm going to kind of center it between those there. Okay. And then making sure that these two up here are kind of centered based on that photo. So this is number 7 and that's number 8. So we'll go ahead and place that up along the edge. And then we'll do the same with this one. Okay, so these are kind of centered with this piece down here. Then we're going to come over here to the left. We have piece number 5. And we're going to adhere this over here. So you kind of need to look at the photo for the spacing on this one, because we're going to be adding photos that are 6 by 4 here. So we want to make sure that there's enough space here for 6 by 4 photos. So making sure that you're looking at the spacing for that to allow for your photos. And then this one will just stick right below it, so lining up with that. So this actually completes the base of our layout or our spread. And then it tells you again which photo sizes to place in these areas. So here would be a 3.5 by 5.5, and then over here you'd have 6 by 4 photos, and then 4 by 4 photos here, and 3.5 by 5.5 here. Okay, so that is your basic, but then because it gives us these options of cardstock colors, this is a great way or time, if you will, to then take and add some added color if you wanted to this. So what happens if, and I have one completed, I'm going to share with you. So you can take this base and just doctor it up, okay? Just add some fun to it if you want, okay? This is optional. I like to add the creative touches to it, but you don't have to. So what I did with this one is I used a piece of paper from a different collection and cut mats. Okay, so I cut these just 1/4 of an inch smaller than the ones that are already there. So I can still use the same size photo. So I can still add a 3.5 by 5.5 photo here. And then instead of the pictures being these sizes, 6 by 4, I went ahead and made mats that size. So now my photos are just going to be cut down 1/4 of an inch. So the photos will be 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Here I've got 4 by 4 mats, which on the instruction sheet shows them as a photo. So I place them as a mat. Then these photos will just get cut down to 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So as you can see also with this one, I did add a border, just a slight kind of added piece on the back side there. I used the slide reel border punch, and then I just placed it in my trimmer and cut it vertically. So I've got 1/2 along this side and 1/2 along this side. So very simple additions, but that can just kind of kick it up a notch for you. Then why did I tell you that you should keep track of your measurements? I shared that with you because we can take those measurements then and use this whole layout in a different collection. So I went ahead and cut all of the pieces exactly like my measurements were here and created this birthday layout. So this is using these measurements and this layout exactly the same, but in a different collection. This is using the new Birthday Jubilee collection. It's just fabulous. The colors for this are just bright and can go both feminine and masculine. And I went ahead and added mats as well for these. So now all I have to do is go in and add my photos. You can do a couple of things. You can place some photo mats in here. You can add little sticky notes, or even just using a pencil, just go ahead and write the size of the photo that's going to be on each one. So this is a 4 by 4 mat. So I could just note 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. So now I know what photo size is going to go there. So I don't have to then go back every time and remeasure, right? I can do it when I'm creating, so then that way when I go back to add my photos, if I'm not doing it at the exact same time, I can do that. So you guys, I hope you have enjoyed kind of watching and listening to some tips for page kit number 1. But take this first one that we finished here and go in, and you can also add, you know, your stickers, foam squares, etc. And so again, I just absolutely love that this is going to go with all the other layouts that I'm creating in my 2025 album using the Noteworthy collection. All right, you guys, thanks for joining me today. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. I'd be grateful for that. Love and blessings to each one of you, and I look forward to creating again with you soon.